Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to learn about the electron configurations. That means how the electrons are organized or kept inside the atom in different orbitals, shell, subshell, or what are their magnetic spins, different things. So we will learn different rules, how we can fill the electrons in different shell or subshell, or what would be the spins. So this is the electron configuration, and why we need to learn. We will also, that means what is the importance of learning electronic configurations. We will learn one by one. What are electronic configuration or electron configuration? Already in last class I have mentioned about this. Just a little bit reminder. The electronic configuration of an element describes how electrons are distributed in its atomic orbitals. That means for any atom we have several atomic orbitals. First shell, second shell, third shell. We define each shell with different name. Sometimes we call it orbit, sometimes we call it shell, and also we symbolize with different symbols like as K, L, M, N, like this way. Even we use another term, quantum number. So all are more or less same thing, but we need to understand what we are going to explain, and then we will say what types of information we can get and what are the importance of getting the electronic configuration, or by knowing electron configuration what you can understand. Electron configuration of an atoms follow a standard notation. That means you need to use a standard rule so that you can get anyone. If you write down the electronic configuration, then easily all other can understand. So for any atom we know how many electrons are there, and then you have to follow a specific rule, the formation or filling the electron from one shell to another shell, and in each subshell how the electrons are distributed, and orientation also. If the electron has a spin in one direction, that means up direction or back direction, or downward or upward, like this way. So electron configuration of an atom follow a standard notation. If you use any way, that means you can represent by yourself, that is not allowed. You need to follow a certain rule which is always same. So electron configurations of atoms follow a standard notation in which all electron containing atomic subshells with the number of electrons they hold written in superscript. That means how many electrons in one subshell you have, you need to write down as a superscript, that means as a power, like this way. And as the principal quantum number or number of subshell or K shell, M shell, like this way, we need to write down as a coefficient. Coefficient, and the number of electrons in a subshell you need to write down as the superscript. For example, the electron configuration of a sodium atom, we know the sodium atom has 11 electrons. So write down, if we want to fill the electron configuration of sodium atom, 1s2, this is the shell number, first shell, second shell, and this is third shell. Or if you consider the principal quantum number, this is 1, 2, 2, 3. So first shell, second shell, and third shell, and principal quantum number all are same. So we are writing this number as a coefficient. So coefficient, and then what is the subshell and how many electrons are present in the subshell, that is written as the superscript, as the power. Okay, for example, this is the 1s. In first shell we have 2 electron, or first subshell also, because 1s has only one subshell. First shell or first subshell, same. Okay, so in the first shell and first subshell we have only 2 electrons. In the second shell we have two subshells. Two subshells, one is 2s, another is 2p. And in 2s we have 2 electrons, and in 2p we have 6 electrons. So in the subshell, how many electrons are there, you need to write down as a superscript, and then this is the subshell symbolized S like this. So whatever, then for example the electron configuration of sodium can be written as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Okay. For atoms with larger atomic number, little bit, if we have an atom with very large atomic number, what does it mean? For any atom having large atomic number means it has lot of electrons, huge number of electrons in the different shells, in the first shell, second shell, third shell, like this way. So if we want to distribute the electrons, or if we want to represent all the electrons by writing 1s2, 2s2, 3s2 like this, or 3p6, this is very long sequence. So that is time consuming and also not necessary at all. Just most of the time we need to understand the electronic configuration of the outermost shell. So if you know the atomic number of an atom, then you can easily find out the outermost shell configuration. If you know the outermost configuration, then you can easily understand the characteristics. So then what you will do, if you have the atomic number very large or lot of electrons are there, then you need to consider a standard or base. What is the base? Nearby inert gas configuration. Because for any electronic configuration, the inert gas configuration is very stable. So easily we can, let us consider, we know the electronic configuration of neon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So it has 10 electrons, so we can consider 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. This is the electronic configuration of neon. And for aluminium, the atomic number of aluminium is 13, so it has 13 electrons also. So if you write down the electronic configuration of aluminium in this sequence, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p1, because in the third shell there will be only 3 electrons, in the first shell 2 and second shell 8. So if you write down the electronic configuration of aluminium like this way, this is okay, but if we write down, just copy up to this 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, this is the copy of this neon. So if we replace this up to this region, that means 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, then we can replace this part, but by writing the symbol of neon and giving some square bracket. This is the bracket and neon, then rest of the part 3s2, 3p1, 3s2, 3p1. Similarly, if you consider for calcium, this is the nearby inert gas argon. It has 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. So this is the configuration of argon. Now if you want to write down the electronic configuration of calcium, calcium atomic number is 20, so it has 2 electrons more compared to argon. Therefore you can write down the electronic configuration of argon. Instead of writing this one, you can write or replace this part up to 18 by replacing just argon symbol and giving the square bracket. So then how you can write down 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, this is replaced by this part argon 18, and then rest of the part 4s2 can be written as 4s2. Therefore the electronic configuration of this can be written, or calcium can be written as argon square bracket and then 4s2. So for long atom or the atomic number having very large electron, we can write down by simple way by replacing the nearby most stable configuration of inert gas and then rest of the part we can write down. Now, why electron configurations are useful? Why we need to learn electronic configuration and what are the importance? If you know the electronic configuration of any atom, you can easily understand or you can easily define the valency of that element. Let us consider, if we understand the electronic configuration of aluminium, this is the electronic configuration of aluminium. So either in this format or this format, anything is fine. So this is the field part, that means this is the neon, or up to this is okay. So if you want to find out the valency of this aluminium, you need to find out the number of electrons in the outermost shell. If it has 1, 2, 3, 4 these types of electrons, then you can easily understand the valency of that element or atom is corresponding number of how many electrons in the outermost shell. For aluminium, we can see that it has 3s2 and 3p1. That means 3 electrons, this 2 and this 1. So 3 electrons in the outermost shell. So the valency of aluminium would be 3. In case of calcium, how about this? This is the inner part and the outermost electron or outermost shell has only 2 electrons. In that case, we can easily understand the configuration of calcium, and the valency can be calculated because it has 2 electrons in the outermost shell. Therefore, we can understand or estimate the valency of calcium is 2. Okay, predicting the properties of a group of elements. That means if you find a group of elements having similar number of electronic configuration, that means outermost shell has similar number of electrons. In that case, you can consider that group of element will have similar characteristics. So if you consider for any group in the periodic table, maybe group 2 the magnesium, calcium, magnesium, like this way, or even group 1, first skip hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, like this way. So this is the group 1 element or atom. Then how you can consider? It has 1 electron in the outermost shell. Therefore they can easily donate that electron to someone. So this is the characteristics of that element, because we know from electronic configuration it has only 1 electron in the outermost shell, so it can donate 1 electron, so it can form a positive ion easily. So this is the characteristics of that group elements. So if you know the electronic configuration, you can predict or you can understand the properties, chemical properties or electronic properties or even physical properties also. The physical properties, how we can understand? Let us consider for group 1. If you know that any element in the periodic table has 1 electron in the outermost shell, it can donate 1 electron and it will be metallic. So this is very easy. So it can donate electron, that means it can prepare or it can generate a cation. So that will be metallic. So similarly we can consider for any group of element, if we know the electronic configuration, then we can consider that the atomic number, the electronic configuration, then you can understand the chemical properties or physical properties of that group. Interpreting atomic spectra. Okay, interpreting atomic spectra, that means I think you are not very familiar with this term. However, in one of our chapter we will learn something about the instrumental analysis. Even we will learn about the Beer-Lambert law or something, or some instrument. So atomic spectra, that means when one atom, we have several electronic shell in an atom. So if you put some energy to the electron or atom, then the one electron from inner shell will jump to the upper shell. Then if you remove the energy, what will happen? The electron will come back to the previous shell again. So if you want to know what types of atom or what types of characteristics, these types of atomic spectra can be observed, and that is identical for or specific for a specific atom. So this is for any atom, it is just a specific. So if you have three, if you consider for sodium, so outermost shell has 1 electron, inner shell, first shell has 2 electrons, second shell has 8 electrons, and then third shell has 1 electron. So now if you hit the electron with X-ray, that means very high energy electron. So if you use X-ray or very high energy something you are hitting with very high energy, then what will happen? One of the electron from the core, that means center or first shell, will jump to the upper. It can go in the second shell or third shell. Second shell is already filled, so maybe it will move to the third shell or even upper. So if you remove the energy, then that electron which has been jumped to the upper level, it will come back to the original position. And how it comes back? By releasing that energy, releasing that absorbed energy. In that case, it will generate some spectra or line. What types of line? Just how much energy is released. This energy is released as a some vibration or a wave. So that is just specific for a specific atom. So every atom has a specific atomic spectra, and we can get the idea if we know the electron configuration of that atom or element. Okay, now how we can write down the electron configuration? We know about shells. I have used 4 different terms: shells, orbit, principal quantum number, and another K shell, L shell, M shell, like this. So 4 different types of notation. But how many electrons can reside in a shell? Already last class I have mentioned 2n square. That means in any specific shell or in a specific orbit or principal quantum number, the total number of maximum electron can exist in the shell is represented by a formula which is 2n square. 2n square. And what is the value of n? N is the number of shell, in which shell, first shell, second shell, third shell, like this way. So the shells values of n and the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in a shell is based on the principal quantum number. So it will depend on the principal quantum number value. If the value of principal quantum number is very high, that means maybe you can consider 3. Let us consider 3. This is a very high number. So for higher principal quantum number, the total number of electrons will be more compared to a lower principal quantum number or low value of n. So let us consider or calculate the value of total electron number in the third shell. That means 3 square, that means 9 into 2, that will be 18. So in the third shell we can have total 18 electrons, but in case of first shell, how many? The value of n is 1. So 2 into 1 square, that will give only 2. So in the first shell we have 2 electrons, in the third shell we can have 18 electrons. So the value of total number of electrons depends on the value of principal quantum number, that means the n. So let's see how many electrons can have in the principal quantum number or first shell. In the K shell or in the n equal 1, 2 into 1 square 2, L shell 2 into 2 square 8, third shell 18, fourth shell 32. So for this way you can have as many as electron or electronic shell we can have that number of electrons. Okay, now we will learn about the quantum number. So already we have mentioned about the quantum number. Quantum number, what is quantum number? Quantum number is a value that is used when describing the energy levels available to atoms and molecules. For any atom or molecule, how many, that means where the electron will go, and the quantum number is a value that is used when describing the energy levels. For any atom, we have several energy levels. So where the electron is or electrons are, just if you use certain number, then you can easily define the position of the electrons in the atomic energy levels or sub-levels or subshells or in the orbitals or magnetic spin or quantum or position or whatever. So magnetic quantum number or spin quantum number, whatever. Just this is some number or notification that if we use this number, then we can easily understand or we can easily describe that electron or the position of that electron can be easily defined using certain numbers. That number is known as quantum number. So we have 4 different types of quantum number: principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, and magnetic quantum number, and finally spin quantum number. Now what are the principal, azimuthal, magnetic quantum number and spin quantum number? Just let us see. The principal quantum number describes the energy level. That means for any atom we have several energy levels. That means we have seen that orbit where the electrons are surrounding outside the nucleus. These are known as energy level, and these are called, or this can be defined as the principal quantum number. And azimuthal quantum number, what is? In every orbit or in every principal quantum number we have several subshells or azimuthal quantum number where the electrons have different energy. Let us consider for first shell. First shell has only one quantum number and only one orbital. So whatever, in the first shell we have only one energy level and one subshell. But in case of second orbit or second shell, we can have 2 subshells. So that means, what does it mean? The 2 subshell means the energy of that 2 subshells are not same, and also their structure. That means where the electrons, we are considering the orbits are circular. Actually this is not circular, but it has some region where the electrons can be found more, or the electron density, the density of electron can be found more. That region is known as the orbital, or where we are getting the electron. This is different types of subshells. So for every principal quantum number we have several subshells or azimuthal quantum number. And for magnetic quantum number, that means in each subshell we may have several magnetic quantum number. That means if we consider for second shell, we have mentioned that we have subshell, two subshells we are defining as 2s and 2p. Later I will show which one we are defining what. So in the second subshell we have 2 subshells. So 2 subshells, sorry, in the second shell we have 2 subshells. Now in second subshell, that means 2p, we have three different magnetic quantum numbers. That means we are defining as 2px, 2py, 2pz, like this way. So each subshell can have several magnetic quantum number, and every quantum number can have every magnetic quantum number or every orbit can have maximum 2 electrons with opposite spin, that can be represented by the spin quantum number. Okay, the spin quantum number, in which direction the spin of the electron is there, that is represented by the spin quantum number. Now quantum number values. We have mentioned four different types of quantum numbers. This is the principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, magnetic quantum number, and spin quantum numbers. So what we know from the Pauli's exclusion principle, maybe you are very familiar with that, that no two electrons in an atom can have same set of quantum numbers. That means if you have two electrons in an atom, so if all the values are same in the four quantum numbers we have mentioned, to define an atom or to define an electron in the position of atom, we need to use four different types of quantum number, but the four different quantum numbers cannot have the same value. According to Pauli's exclusion principle, this is the meaning that no two electrons, that means if you have two electrons in any shell or any atom, it cannot have exactly all the four quantum numbers are same. At least one will be different. It can have several different. If you have several, let us consider neon atom or magnesium. Magnesium has 12 electrons, so it can have 1s2, 2p 2s2, 2p6, and 3s2. These types of configuration can have. We have 12 electrons. None of the electrons can have the four different quantum numbers are same. If you define one by one, later we can see, the principal quantum number is an integer, that is the number of electrons shell. So already we mentioned about the principal quantum number, and it can never be zero. Principal quantum number can never be zero, because if the principal quantum number can be zero, then the electron will come to the center and it will overlap to the proton and neutron. So there is no way that the principal quantum number can have the value 0. So the principal quantum number will have value 1 or more than 1. So it is an integer value. It is an integer value, or it can be a group of integer values, but it cannot be the 0, because if the principal quantum number is 0, in that case the electron will not be at outermost shell, or then the electron will fall into the center of the nucleus. That is not possible. So there is no value 0 for principal quantum number, and it can have the value integer but greater than 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this way. The angular momentum quantum number is an integer, that is the value of the electron's orbital. So how much value can have for L is the greater, we define the angular momentum quantum number or the azimuthal quantum number as L. The value of L can be 0. We have mentioned that value of principal quantum number cannot be 0, but in case of azimuthal quantum number or angular momentum quantum number, the value of L can be 0 to n minus 1. That means we have mentioned that n is the principal quantum number. So if you have the value for principal quantum number 3, then you can have maximum L value 3 minus 1, that means 2. Maximum 2 you can have. So what will be the value of azimuthal or angular momentum quantum number? From 0 to 2. So here I have mentioned for 3. So s equals 0, 1, 2, 3 will not be, because n minus 1, that means 3 minus 1. So we can have maximum 3. So in the angular momentum quantum number, that will be the value of L will be 0 to n minus 1, and that is represented by some symbol. If the value of L is 0, then it is represented as S. If the value of L is 1, that is represented by P, and if the value of L is 2, this is represented by D, and then if the value of L is 3, then we call it F, or represent by F. So S, P, D, F, the value of L equals 0, 1, 2, 3. Now magnetic quantum number. The magnetic quantum number is the orientation of the orbital with integer values ranging from minus L to plus L. So if you have the value of L for any electron, that is, let us consider for value of L, here we have mentioned for n equal 3. So in that case we have found the value of L can be maximum 2. So for magnetic quantum number, we will have the value of minus L to plus L, that will be minus L, then minus L plus 1, then minus L plus 2, like this way, then 0 and 0 plus 1, 0 plus 2 up to L. So the magnetic quantum number is the orientation of the orbital with integer values ranging from minus L to plus L. So for the p orbital, the value of L is 1. So how many magnetic quantum number we will have? We already mentioned the value of L is 1. Therefore we can have minus L, here you can see minus 1, 0 and 1. I have mentioned here that minus L to L, that means first one will be minus L, that means minus 1. Second one will be minus L plus 1. So minus 1 plus 1, that will be 0. And then L plus 1, 0 plus 1, like this way. So you can easily understand that if the value of L or azimuthal quantum number or angular quantum number is 1, in that case you can have minus 1, 0 and 1 for the magnetic quantum number. Now what about the spin? The spin quantum number is a half integer value. The half integer value, that means the half integer, this is half 1 by 2, that is half integer value, and if it is directed upward and downward, then we use just opposite sign. The spin quantum number is a half integer value, that is either minus half called spin down or plus half called spin up. So if you have any electron, how we can get the electronic configuration, and we will use these all 4 different quantum numbers to define, and we will see that all the 4 quantum numbers for a specific electron cannot be same. Now how many azimuthal quantum numbers in shell we can have? Let us consider for n equal 1, L equal 0. So we know the value of L will be n minus 1. So for that one, the L will be L equal 0. N minus 1, that means 1 minus 1 will be 0. So in the first shell there will be only one subshell. In the second shell we can have the value of L equal n minus 1 and to 0, 0 to n minus 1. So 0 to n minus 1, that means 0 to n minus 1, first 0, then n minus 1, that means 2 minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So in the second shell we can have two subshells, and that can be represented by 2s and 2p. In the third shell the value of L will be n minus 1, that will be 2. So 0 to 2, the value of L will be 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2, and represented by 3s, 3p, 3d. For n equal 4, the value of L can be n minus 1, that means 4 minus 1 equal 3. So maximum value of L can be 3. So the value of L will be 0 to 3, represented by 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. Okay. Now thus it can be understood that the 1p, 2d and 3f orbitals do not exist because the value of the azimuthal quantum number is always less than that of the principal quantum number. 1p, if you try to find out the value for 1p, if it is possible or not, if we consider here, we know that the value of L, the value of L will be just n minus 1. It cannot be equal to n. So if you consider for any orbital the azimuthal quantum number, in that case that is not possible, because here we have mentioned that 1p, 2d or 3f. Here the principal quantum number is 1 and the azimuthal quantum number or magnetic quantum number, that is 1. Here principal quantum number 2, this is 2. 3, say principal quantum number 3 and azimuthal quantum number 3. So that cannot be, because we have mentioned in the formula for the azimuthal quantum number that the value of azimuthal quantum number will be just n minus 1. So the value of these types of orbital do not exist. Now example for a quantum number. For outer valence electrons of a carbon atom. For carbon atom we know we have 6 electrons in the total, it has 6 electrons. The electrons are found in the 2p orbitals. So for the outer valence electrons of a carbon atom, the electrons are found in the 2p orbital. The 4 quantum numbers used to describe the electrons are n equal to, that means second shell, the value of n is 2. So what would be the value of L? N minus 1, that means 2 minus 1 equal 1. So the value of L is 1. Then M equal 1, that means in case of 2p, value of p is 1 and 0 or minus 1. So the magnetic quantum number is, we know the magnetic quantum number will be minus L2 plus L including 0. So minus L2 plus L, that should be better written in this way, minus 1, 2, 0 and 1. So the magnetic quantum number for this atom will be 1, 0 and minus 1. And spin quantum number, the electrons have parallel spins. Outermost electron, that means for carbon we have, if I don't have that one, this is okay. This is the electronic configuration of carbon. So if you want to have the electron configuration, this is the 2p orbitals. In the 2p orbitals we have two electrons. So we will learn different other rules, Abbo principle, Hund's rule, and also Pauli's exclusion principle that we will learn, where we will learn different thing, that how the electrons are filled and what would be their spin and different way. So in the next class I will discuss about that. Just here you see the electronic configuration for the carbon. In the first shell it has 2 electrons with opposite spin. In the second shell it has 2 subshells, 2s and 2p. First shell is filled with 2 electrons with opposite spin. In the 2p orbital it has 2 electrons. We can write down by this way. If you put 2 electrons in the same orbital, that can be written, but energetically this is favorable. Energetically this is not okay. So I have written here incorrect. This types of arrangement is not perfect. This types of arrangement is okay. So these electrons have the parallel spin upward, both one in the upward. So these types of electrons, that means these 2 electrons, even if you have another electron in the second shell, this is for carbon. If you consider for nitrogen, you will have another electron in the second shell. In that case you can put the third electron to this orbital, 2p, this orbital. So all the 3 electrons will have the similar orientation in the spin state. All of them will have parallel orientation. So these types of electron, what we have been showing, that the quantum number for carbon, the 4 quantum numbers used to describe the electrons are n equal 2, l equal 1, m equal 1, 0 and minus 1, and s equal plus half. The electrons have parallel spins. And this is the end of today's class. If you have any questions or comments regarding this, then you are welcome to ask.